Alright, welcome back to Fast Gadgets. So let's talk about Mac in the news once again. A couple of stories, just going to go over very quickly and give you my opinion and see what you think. Let's start with the big one. So apparently, according to MacRumors.com, the 15-inch MacBook Pro and apparently the 13-inch MacBook Pro with the Touch Bar no longer has a removable SSD. So what we're seeing is the SSD component is actually soldered in place. Although interesting, I really don't find it all that surprising. It's interesting though that the 13-inch non-touch bar does have a removable SSD, so if you wanted to upgrade that one, it is possible. But you do have to keep in mind that even if you did want to do that, the SSD is proprietary, so it's not like you can just put any other SSD in it. It has to have the correct firmware on it and, of course, be the right form factor in order to work with the MacBook. So there are some unfortunate side effects there. As an example, with the Lenovo Yoga 2 that I use, I was able to get a 1 terabyte SSD Samsung EVO 850 for $289, which is a really good deal. Now my MacBook Pro 2015 has a 256 gigabyte SSD, and I did look for even a 512 gigabyte SSD, and it was looking to be about $400 to $500. If I wanted to go to a 1 terabyte, I believe the price was $600 or more. So it's not like we're going to be replacing the SSDs even if we could. In comparison, my 2011 MacBook Pro would take a standard SATA. So what I was able to do is put in a SATA SSD, which greatly improved the speed and really is an excellent system with that SSD in it. It only cost me about $200 at the time, and I put in a 512 gigabyte SSD. So what does this mean? What does this bode for us if you are a Mac user? Is it a showstopper? Absolutely not. Is it something that's just a Mac issue? No, absolutely not. All the vendors right now, the hardware manufacturers, are driven by thinness, and I've seen in other videos on YouTube, basically users are saying we don't really care all that much for thinness to a certain degree. We would like to see systems be thinner, or at least as thin as they are today, but I think most users would rather have longer battery life, removable parts that they could replace. But even if you can't, it's not the end of the world. I mean, you do get some trade-offs. Technically speaking, it should be faster because it's soldered directly into the board. And I say technically speaking because that doesn't mean it will be, but hopefully it is faster. Yes, you're stuck with that storage. Maybe in the future we could get a USB-C drive that we could plug in. I like the UltraFit, Cruiser UltraFit by SanDisk, which are very useful. They're very small. This unit sticks out just a tiny bit, and although not as fast as SSD storage, this one being USB 3 is actually quite fast. So, if I need to add on storage, basically what I did is I bought one of these for I think $40 at 128 gigabytes, and I put it in my MacBook Pro, and I used that for what I consider basically level 2 storage, the SSD being the fastest. So the big thing for me is video editing, and as I edit videos, what I will do is take the older videos that I may want some of the content from as archival footage and move it to the little SSD and save the room on the primary drive, and that's really helped. And then after a while I'll prune, or I'll take the old videos that I've edited and created from this tiny USB 3 and finally put it on a 1 terabyte portable hard drive if I'm not going to use it frequently. So I don't really see this as a big deal. I expect other manufacturers to be doing it. I was surprised it wasn't done already, honestly, in 2015, when they were soldering everything else on. These are much more becoming appliances and less computers. I mean, yes, they have the computing capability, but appliance, when I say that, is what I mean is basically you buy what you get at the time and you use it as long as you can. And once it doesn't meet your needs or it's too slow or whatever, you're going to replace it. And I think we have to think pretty realistically. I mean, I've had this Lenovo Yoga 2 for about 2 years and I replaced the hard drive in it. So it's still, relatively speaking, fast enough. It's got a 4th generation i7. I actually checked online. That's what the specs say. And it's certainly fast enough for what I do. It's 4510U. I don't have any complaints. I'm really happy with it. So, the fact is, though, that's the only thing I can upgrade on it. And maybe 2 more years I'll be using this computer, maybe a year, and I'll want to get a new one. So we have to think of it that way. And I really am not overly concerned. So curious on what your take is. Do you think Mac has made another big mistake? Apple has made a big mistake? I really don't think so personally, but I guess we'll see. There was this really interesting article here on The Verge. This is really funny. I love this byline here. A book like this takes courage. I really have to agree. So Apple has basically released a $300 book with pictures of their products through time, and they commissioned some fancy photographer to come in and take some 450 photographs. Now there's 2 sizes to this particular book. One is smaller that you can get for $1.99, or the larger one for $2.99, and basically it's meant to be a coffee table type of book that you would leave on your coffee table. So wow, Apple, I don't know. I can't see me paying $300 for this book. I mean, it looks like it's softbound. It may be hardbound. I really can't tell. But I would not be running out to buy a $300 book with pictures of Apple products when, quite frankly, I can look on YouTube and see some high quality 4K and 1080p videos that are absolutely stunning. And for that matter, there's all kinds of images available that are free if I really wanted it, So this is probably not a book that I'm going to be buying anytime soon. What do you think? Is this something you're interested in? And they had some interesting quotes too by, I think it was by Johnny Ive. Yeah, he writes the foreword. It's not about the design team, the creative process, or product development. It's an objective representation of our work that ironically describes who we are. I can hear his voice every time I read something by him. It just drives me nuts. I mean, I almost cannot stand watching videos that has him in it. I mean, I know it sounds terrible, but it's just the ultimate in advertising, in my opinion. I wonder if his job is actually to do anything anymore but shoot these videos and create a $300 book. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Hope you enjoyed the video. Like and subscribe. I know you get tired of hearing that from other YouTubers, but if you do enjoy the channel and the content, do subscribe. And if you really think it's worthwhile, share it and let others know. I will see you next time. Thank you for watching.